So here you have a member of Congress, an elected official, being implicated in a sexual sex involved, allegedly sex or some sort of sexual involvement, some sort of improperness with a teenager, someone under, I don't know if they're, again, I don't know the legalities here, but someone who's clearly not over the age of 18, by even Matt Gaetz's own wording, the careful wording he used. You think this would be setting off the alarms to, with the QAnon believers who have been going on for years now, that Donald Trump is fighting the cabal of satanic, cannibalistic, sex trafficking runners all over the world, within the Democratic Party, the Hollywood elites, all over. You think they'd be jumping through hoops here? Over the moon here, I should say. Finally, it looks like what they believed somewhat is coming to fruition, and that we got him. We got one of them. But no. Now this is where I'll say they're jumping through hoops, because this is where it's accurate. They're jumping through hoops, actually, to try to make sense of this without blaming Matt Gaetz. And not exactly a QAnon guy, although he did bring up a defense of Gaetz on Twitter, where he basically brought up baby eating and baby killing and adrenochrome, which are all QAnon specialties. But here is Nick Fuentes, Groyper Supreme, and here's what he is saying about this whole situation where Matt Gaetz allegedly was improper with a 17-year-old.
Too, the whole age of consent thing is really a feminist social construct. I'll just put that out there.
We're gonna go with the age of consent talking point. Let's do it, Fuentes. Let's hear it rip, because let me tell you, there's never a scenario where this works out in the favor of the person arguing this talking point. Go ahead, though.
Because what are we really talking about here? Why are people so upset if somebody is 17 rather than 18? Well, that's because in the state of Florida, the age of consent is 18. It just so happens that the age of consent in Illinois is 17, and in other states, it's 16. And it varies from country to country and state to state. But if the age of consent...
Right, that's how laws work, right? I mean, for example, in New York, we just legalized weed. Just happened. But however, there are the majority of states in the U.S. do not have legalized weed. So while you can smoke it here, it would be illegal to smoke it elsewhere. And I don't agree with that particular law. I think it should be legalized federally for all 50 states. But, that's just how laws work. I mean, you are the right winger, right? You're the one who believes in states' rights, right? I mean, and when you believe in states' rights, you believe that states have the ability to make their own laws, and they shouldn't have to deal with the federal government, Big Brother, right? Telling them what to do. You don't want the federal government stepping in and saying that the age of consent in all 50 states should be 16, 17, 18, right? You want the states to decide, because that's what happens now. And when that happens, this is what you get. But let's continue with your brilliant age of consent debate. Let's go there. Keep going, buddy.
18 in Florida, then it is the worst thing possible that you're, dating somebody that's a year younger, right? End of the world. I will say that, let's think about what's really going on here. Age of consent means the age at which an adult can consent. Do we really believe that you have to be 18 years old in order to consent to sex? Otherwise, it's rape? Are we really supposed to believe that people, adults, grown adults who are past the point of puberty engage in a relationship and that becomes a rape?
Past the point of puberty. Now I have a question for you, Mr. Fuentes. what are we? What are you? What are you trying to argue for here? Are you saying that when someone hits puberty, they should be able to consent to sex with whoever they so choose, no matter how old the uh, partner is in that sexual act? Because people go through puberty at all different ages. I mean, um, I recall talking to various friends who are women throughout my life who told me they hit puberty at ages as early as, like, I don't know, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. Are you saying that once they hit puberty, they should have been allowed to consent to having sex with a 20, 30, 40, 50, 60, 70, 80 year old? Is this the argument you want to make? Because that's the one you're making. Um, let's see what else you have to say there. I think this is a terrible idea, but I mean, I think there's a good argument at saying that, if you're 18, you consent to having sex with someone who's 20, 30, 40. You can think that's weird, but I say, if you're a legal adult, you are legally able to make these decisions. But, 16 and 17, you are not a legal adult. You can't even buy a pack of cigarettes. Let's continue, Nick. What are you doing here, buddy? I mean, ugh, ugh.
To me, what I think age of consent is about is
Oh, do you want to do this? Do you want to do this? Do you want to do this? But to you, what is age consent about? Go ahead. Ugh.
really, and I've said this before on the show, it's not a new take. I think what it's really about is artificially increasing the sexual marketplace value of older women. I think that's really what it's about.
Right. Yeah. Yeah. So, I'm gagging here. So what you're saying is, I mean, you're basically saying that the most attractive women out there are under the age of 18. I mean, that's the argument you're literally making there, Nick. You are saying that my white supremacist Groyper non friend. Uh, this is what you're doing. You're the one who's talking about. You're the one who just went on Twitter. I can't pull up the tweet because he just got a temporary suspension from Twitter. But you're the one who is basically saying, shouldn't we be focusing on the Democrats trafficking babies and extracting the adrenochrome out of them, right? Here's the thing, though, Nick. This is the weird thing overall, actually. These QAnon guys and these right wingers obsessed with these fictional sex trafficking cases when there's actually real sex trafficking going out there, but the real sex trafficking going on out there don't really fit the description of what they believe sex trafficking is. And as you can see, they think there's some sort of epidemic of literal babies, like I don't know how old, months old babies, year old, 2 year old babies out there being sex trafficked. And while I'm sure that happens and it's horrible, when we talk sex trafficking, we are usually, because this is what it mostly is about, we are usually referring to teenagers, young or preteens, like, 12, 13, 14-year-old girls who are either on the streets, literally selling themselves. We are talking about homeless LGBT youth who were kicked out of their homes, again, usually trying to make money and provide food and shelter for themselves, so they have to sell themselves. We are, in some cases, talking about young people who are brought into a sex trafficking where they do have some sort of pimp and they are being held, and that does happen too. But like these guys literally think the main thing is like literal babies are being stolen. It's like this isn't like you guys really think that the 15, 16-year-olds having sex with I don't know how old Matt Gaetz is, 30, 40 years old. You think that's okay? A 16-year-old having sex with Matt Gaetz is okay? I mean, allegedly, if that's the scenario, I'm using a hypothetical in this particular scenario. I question your commitment to saving the children, to be quite honest. I'm really questioning the right commitment to saving the children right now. Oh, someone in the chat just mentioned, didn't is it Nick Fuentes, one of these guys who whined about Cuties, that Netflix movie too? Right. I mean, this is just unbelievable. Gonna argue the age of consent laws. Ugh. Ugh.